Keanu had his first seizure when we were on holiday in Sydney. He was about 1.5 years old. At that time, they thought it was just a febrile seizure because he'd been a bit unwell. So they thought maybe he'd had a spike in temperature. But fast forward 5 months, and he started having what they call myoclonic seizures, which look like little ticks. And after a while, I realized that these weren't really normal. Up to 11 of them were happening a day. So we consulted a pediatrician.
And how bad did these seizures get?
So they got very bad actually. So they were called drop attacks, this type of seizures that he was having, and he would lose control of his legs. So that means that his hands would come out and be really stiff, and he had lots of facial injuries from these type of seizures, mainly on his head and his lips. So yeah, it was quite hard trying to keep him safe and striking that balance between letting him be active as a toddler.
So what about for you emotionally as a young mother? How did you go through that whole experience with your family?
It was challenging just because it was so unexpected. My husband and I, neither of us have any family history with epilepsy. So getting through that period, I just tried to educate myself as much as I could and try and surround myself with family and friends that were supportive and that understood our situation and that were willing to learn more.
I believe Keanu is 6 years old now, right?
Yeah, so now he's 6. We live between Tokyo and New Zealand, and so at the moment he's at a special needs school in New Zealand, which he really loves, and he comes home very happy each day. And the help there is really amazing for him. It's one-on-one, and he's really thriving and developing at his own pace.
When did things start getting better for you?
So the seizures continued from Keanu was around 2 to the age of 4. They were kind of up and down while we were trying to work out the correct doses of medication and which medications were working for him. So in November 2017, that was the last time he had his last seizure, and since then things have been good. Obviously he has quite a large developmental delay, so we're not really seeing the normal progress that you would see in an average child. But in terms of, as I said, him being happy and having a great little character, things are all good in that department.
This is great to hear. So, Stacey, I know you are a primary school teacher, I believe, and you said, handling Keanu is harder than handling a class of 14 sometimes. So I want to ask you, what is your advice for people on how to interact with families like your own?
Mm-hmm. So I would say approach the topic with sensitivity. The families are just trying to wrap their heads around everything that's going on too. Although it's happening to the child, it is having just such a knock-on effect on the whole family, and it's quite stressful. So I would say educate yourself and find out what you can, and then approach them. And you don't have to always approach them face to face, because that may not be the most comfortable way, but you could, send a message or something like that. And I think also although that child may have a learning difficulty, it's still important to interact with them when you see them, by saying, by just being normal, because although they may not interact with you in the same way as an average child, they still want human contact. So yeah, just kind of learn and accept that there are different types of normals out there for families. And if you see a child that's different, just take that on board. The whole world is so diverse, and it's just really important to educate yourself and to also educate your children, because they're going to come in contact with so many types of different people throughout their lives.
Well, Stacey Smiler, thank you so much for being, a role model to many mothers across the world, and to Keanu, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.